That's a Shame is brought to you by the people who support us over at patreon.com/shamecity.
If you have $1,
$2.
$1 to spare, join us again at patreon.com/shamecity. Please.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to another free episode of your favourite consistent podcast, That's a Shame. Are we calling this, is this now season 3?
The season's idea has bolted, unfortunately.
The horses have gone, the door is locked.
It's hard to know what even a season would be anymore.
No.
Because we did boldly proclaim the beginning of season 2.
Well, it was a bit like the show Heroes, where we had a long and some would say riotously successful first season. And then second season, writer's strike.
You were Mahinder Suresh. I love Mahinder Suresh.
He's the worst character.
He's got such a nice relaxing voice,
He does, but he is the most wooden actor of all time.
No, you take that back.
I won't be. No.
You've got big Suresh
I'm
energy.
HRG. That's why
Doubtful.
I am.
Doubtful.
You're the Haitian.
Sorry, I'd love to be the Haitian.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his power was.
His power is wiping
makes other
minds.
people's powers better as well. He had like an ancillary power, I think, where he's...
No, that's Ando.
Don't remember about
You
him.
can be him as well if you want.
No, Hiro Nakamura, though.
Okay,
He's
so
a cool guy.
your
I'm
hero,
Peter Petrelli and Hero.
and
Claire.
you're a
Oh no, because the whole point of
time-traveling
Peter was that he didn't.
Asian
he had everyone else's
Haitian
powers.
white dude.
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you for
well,
asking.
that's good.
Anyway,
Your name is Isaac, as
sure
far as I
is.
recall, and
How
I'm
about you?
Declan.
Declan Suresh in the building. What?
Do you remember? I only just remembered this.
Mm-hmm.
You're quite possibly right by calling me that.
Okay.
Because I re-listened recently to our fantastic premiere to season 2, The Return.
Oh, that was good.
And my initial character in the Overworld story is called Mohinder.
Really? That's so true. So even since then, so the whole of season 2, you've been channeling Mahinder.
And people didn't pick up on that. And that's
on
why
them,
we've
isn't
ditched that idea.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back as
If you guys
Sylar.
aren't going to put the work in to really unravel these webs, then that's on you.
We've got one hell of a show for you today.
It's
and
fucking
you know
hot.
what? I'm actually going to say we've kind of got 2 hells of shows for you today.
Are you saying that these two halves are not going to cohere neatly together?
Oh, definitely not.
Very cool.
No, not at
I like
all.
that vibe.
Not in a single sense. But we thought, something of an omnibus episode, where that
double-barrel
omnibus
shotgun.
is 2 things,
Straight to the head.
2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a feature. And then
I've got a
Isaac's
feature.
got a feature.
I've got a big
And then
quiz.
once we've done those features, the show will be
time.
over.
Yeah.
It'll be home time.
I'll be
indeed.
having some sort of dinner.
Oh, very
That'd be
nice.
nice.
I've just had some sort of dinner.
Oh,
So that's a
very
nice
cool.
kind of bookending
Yeah.
of the show with dinner.
And that wasn't even planned, guys.
That's
I
just
just found out about that
Off
on air.
the cuff, we
That's
do that.
amazing. It's like something you'd hear on stereo.
Now, my feature it is returning to an older feature. But there's
That's
a reason.
okay. Don't feel the need to apologise.
Well, I haven't.
Well, no, but if you felt like you were being derivative, then I'm here to say you're not.
No, I'm not, because
'Cause
there's
you
a
might have a
whole
fresh
new
spin.
reason for why I'm doing
Okay.
it. Which is, I was thinking about something that we mentioned kind of last year is that lockdown,
Yeah.
the plague, this COVID,
Yeah.
the novel coronavirus,
SARS-CoV-2.
it has it's going to, and it kind of already has birthed a really heinous amount of art.
Return, for example.
Truly, well, that's separate, because that was very good.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm talking about is bad.
Very bad
is
ones.
not good art. And I thought, who's the sort of person who's probably thrived in this
Anton
environment?
Deck.
No, weirdly, no, because without a live audience,
And then it turns out
They're
they have
nothing.
they've
They've got
nothing
no
to bounce off.
repartee.
That's sad.
no, I was thinking someone quieter,
Okay. Quieter than Anton Deck. That's a low bar.
but with a far more insidious reach.
Okay. I'm drawing a blank, to be honest.
It's-
It could be anyone.
It's show favourite Rupi Kaur.
Oh, Rupee.
I thought, what's Rupee been up to?
Yeah, what has she been up to?
Has Rupee been doing some more of her poems?
Because I guess the role of the artist, and I say that as one, during the pandemic, the pandemic, it's been for us to shine a light and shine humanity's great big torch back at itself.
And to be fair to Rupee, she was doing that even before the pandemic.
Yeah, so she's
been doing that for a
in that
while.
respect.
And I think that she's just sort of really kind of come into her own.
Well, we need her to document these times in very, very few words.
And let me tell you, she's been doing exactly that.
That's good.
So I thought I would bring back the feature Me or Rupee, where I have found 5 of her recent poems from the lockdown. And I've written 5 of my own.
Okay. About the same topic.
Sort of, yeah, around the same kind of vibes.
Yeah, okay.
And it's your job to see
if it's
if you can
Rupee.
if you can choose between.
Very cool. Okay, I can do it. Well, we'll see, I guess.
We're going to start
with one by you.
With a brief one.
Okay.
This poem goes thus. I'm in the darkest room of my life.
Was that the end of it?
That's the whole poem.
I'm in the darkest room of my life is like a text you would send someone when you've been kidnapped.
Or if you're about to end it all.
Yeah, true. It's just like there's something quite, because you understand what that's going for, but there is like a kind of, it borders on being too literal. Like it could just be the case
that you are
like,
in the darkest room in your life.
At some point, we are all in one day in the darkest room. I know what it was for me.
Go on.
There was a power cut once when I was on the Isle of Isla, which is one of the
street lamps.
There's no lamps. There's basically they've got
no lamps of any description.
And let me tell you, not very bright.
No, well that's good.
Doesn't phosphoresce as you might hope. And yeah, the power cut. That was in the darkest room of my life, and I didn't write a poem about it.
But could you think perhaps of a time when you were maybe figuratively in the darkest room of your life?
No.
Do you know what that might even mean?
No, my inner world is neon, incandescence. Wow. It's beautiful.
Like your little light here.
Yeah, exactly. It's a beautiful place. I'm going to hope that this is you. I'm going to say it's you.
That's Rupee.
No! But it doesn't say enough. Like, it could be the start of something that you were going to say.
I'm afraid that was it. That was
I think Rupee just was in a dark room.
Yeah.
She was like,
she didn't mean it metaphorically.
Yeah. She texted it to her agent.
It was in a power cut, and the only thing she had was Instagram.
This is probably another poem. Publish that. Milk and Honey 2. Okay, 0 out of 1.
0 out of 1.
I'll keep track of my score.
Okay.
I'll give myself bonus points for trying, so I'm on 2 out of 1 so far.
Well, that is that's nice of you.
Where are we going to next?
Well, we're going to another one. This one's a bit longer.
Okay.
My mind, my body, and I all live in one place, but it feels like we are 3 completely different people.
That's got to be Rupee.
That is Rupee.
Okay, good.
Yeah, is Rupee.
That's got Rupee all over it. The hallmark was, well, it said a lot, and that for me is what Rupee's poetry always does.
What did it say to you?
It said a lot. Did I make that clear?
I think it's probably infringing on De La Soul's Me, Myself and I, to be honest. But
that would be an amazing lawsuit.
Really love to put them in touch. Dear Mr. La Soul.
What a weird jury to be on.
Did you see there was a tweet the other day containing some photos that were selfies jurors had taken with Taylor Swift once because she missed the 2016 VMAs because she got called in for jury duty, and they eventually dismissed her, but people had managed to take some selfies with her, and someone had just subtweeted it saying, or quote tweeted it, saying if I were on trial for murdering my husband and looked up and saw Taylor Swift, I would just sigh with relief. Let's have a look at this one.
Okay.
Don't tell me to work on myself. Being me should not be a full-time occupation. It should be my joy and yours and the earth's and its people's. Okay.
It really went on a bit at the end. Rupee has a certain elegance to her prose. I'm going to have to say that was you.
Why do you think that beyond length?
I think the cadence of the bit at the end didn't feel like, I feel like the end of Rupee's poems, it ends on what I would consider a kind of poetic downbeat, where it's like a resolution, like a mic drop, and that one felt like it went a bit listing at the end. It probably is Rupee, but I'm going to guess it was you.
That one was me.
Okay,
that
good,
one was
good,
me.
good.
Yeah, no, well done. Let's have a look.
So I'm on about 5 points.
Yeah, you probably got about
minimum.
10, 15
Oh,
points
that's
here or
good
something
news.
like that.
That's really good news. How well I'm
Anxiety
Yeah.
feels like I'm hanging off the side of a building and my hand is going to slip any second.
hanging off the side of a building, and my hand is going to slip any second. I'm going to guess you for this one.
Why are you going to guess me?
I think the image, I don't know, the image it just doesn't seem vibey.
It doesn't seem vibey.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a second.
Go on.
Are you accusing me of being without vibe?
No, but I think Rupee she captures, when she talks about being sad, she talks about it in a way where it's like, oh, it's pretty cool though. And that just seemed a bit straightforwardly sad, hanging off a building. I picture Mufasa, the bit where he's hanging off a building.
That famous
Scar,
scene.
in his construction
In his winkle
outfit,
pickers.
just pushes him off with his foot. It's
a Rupee with a little
drawing.
drawing. It's like what's that wooden figurine that people used to learn how
The
to draw?
art man.
Yeah.
That's what
is
it's
that what
called. The little wooden
The
art
art
man. Someone's pushed him off Pride Rock.
It's a shame that, isn't it? Because it's very bad. That poem, because
was a bad one.
it is meaningless.
Yeah, it didn't
Like,
say a
because
great
you
deal.
can't liken anxiety
to something
that would be very
inducing. In fact, to say that you'd be anxious in that situation
often an understatement.
is really to downplay.
When I remember the
severity.
time I was hanging by one hand from a building, and I thought, oh dear, got the jitters.
I probably ought to stop doing this free climbing. Okay, 7 points.
Let's have a look.
What have we got?
He wanted someone willing to kiss his feet.
Horrible.
What he
That's
didn't
you.
realise is that my back won't bend that
That's
way
you.
anymore.
That's you. 100%. It sounded like someone trying to suck himself off.
Well, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Why do you think...
It just sounded like someone doing some sort of
Look,
autofellatio contortion.
I think that you've given us too much of a glimpse into your mind if kissing of feet and sucking off are the same thing in your head.
I think it's probably a euphemism in some spaces. I don't know. I don't know
What a great euphemism where you've just substituted one part of the body for another.
That's synecdoche.
Wow. Is that what that New York film was all about? Yeah.
It's Philip Seymour Hoffman sucking himself off in a warehouse. R.I.P. Philip. I thought you were a great actor. Good film as well. That doesn't happen in it much. What have we got?
Imagine what we could accomplish if we didn't have to spend our energy protecting ourselves from society's rapist problem.
That's got to be you. Surely.
That's rude.
That's not a poem though. That's just that's a valid point. But a valid point does not a poem make.
No.
Keats wasn't out there just being like, you know what? Tuberculosis.
There's a lot of people coughing their lungs out.
Oh dear.
As well, I have to say that aesthetically, society's rapist problem is a really funny way of saying that there's
a weird
it feels
phrasing.
like something from Brassai, like they're doing a special report.
It is a strange way of phrasing that problem.
Like, it does not... It in a way, it feels to me like a belittling, like an almost patronising way of looking at it.
It is a strange choice, for sure.
But yeah, she plucked straight for that.
Was there an illustration for that one, or
Not
that
that
deemed...
there was just a group of people, I think.
Okay.
A group of art men.
Oh, yeah. Doing an SRP.
Speaking of souls, mine feels lobster red and swollen, broiled for the soul meat within.
The soul meat?
Boiled
That's got
for the
to
soul
be
meat.
you. Wow. Very interesting
That was-
content. Remember that for my segment.
Soul meat.
The bit before.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Lobster red. Let's have another one.
Okay. I did not get that one, or did?
No, you did.
Okay,
that was me.
I'm on
No, you were
100
right. You were
points.
right. Yeah.
Very good.
Shame is a little person forever lingering in my periphery, always looking and looking, running his eyes over my scandal.
Over my scandal. Ooh, I quite like that. Rupee. I'm going to guess that was Rupee.
That was me.
Oh, nice.
That was
yeah,
me.
that's good.
Thank you.
running your eyes over your scandal.
If you can do a little illustration of a dwarf, we'll pop it
you
on the
know I
we'll pop it on the
You can use
Instagram.
the one I did of my Nintendo Switch idea.
Yeah.
You can check that out at Isaac
The thing about
BD.
drawing a dwarf, if you're doing it like that, is that you've got to have something for scale, or
Yeah.
else it could just be anyone.
Well, I was going to just keep the head being the Nintendo Switch's
Oh,
face.
right. Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's
It's kind of
it's kind of the vibe.
a steampunk sort of thing. I think. I don't know a lot.
I'm pretty sure we've got one left
Okay.
of each.
All right, perfect. So,
So
it's
I'm
a 50-50.
I'm gonna read them both
yeah,
out,
yeah. And then I'll say,
and you have to say.
perfect. That's a great format,
Okay, so
may I say.
thank you. We have left. The bones of our mothers were splinters from God's finger bones,
Foul.
and we've
And
got.
obviously you.
And we've got. You look tired, he says.
Sucking himself off.
I
I've done my back in.
One foot in his mouth. He said, "Woo."
And boy, did he enjoy it. Oh, dear.
You look tired, he says. I turn to him and say, yeah, I'm exhausted. I've been fighting misogyny for decades. How else do you expect me to look?
Okay, it goes you and then Rupert.
It
For
does,
sure.
It does indeed.
Wow, 1,000 points.
1,000,000 points.
What a lot of weird poems about
I
onanism.
if I said to someone, you look, you look tired, and they turned around and without interruption said, yeah, I'm exhausted. I've been fighting misogyny for decades. How else do you expect me to look?
Yeah,
I would.
It's like, well, this. I'm
I would
your
like.
GP.
I would turn the TV up. I can't. What? Like
Yes, it's quite sort of girl boss kind of vibes. It's
Yeah.
like, and then everybody clapped sort of material.
yeah, very. Oh, it's very in that vibe, and that misogyny was Albert Einstein.
Yeah, it's a shame because she's like, I don't know enough about Rupi to fully commit to this opinion, but it has the affect of someone who's taken like valid things that people should care about, like misogyny and diminishing society's rapist problem, as she words,
advocating
firmly against. But it says so little about it that it just reads as extremely cynical, like tagging yourself on to things that you can't be bothered to actually talk about in any meaningful way or suggest solutions for, or even articulate the problems
and
of.
it's not, it's not hers to advance solutions for.
No, that's
but
true.
It also does nothing to just say in 4 lines of supposed verse, by the way, there it is.
There's some bad stuff.
Yeah, there's some bad stuff.
Yeah.
I know about it. Here's a little scribble of a cliff. Here's
Sad.
Mufasa hanging off the Empire State.
Long may he reign. Long live the king.
I think you got 7 points there.
At least. Now, my feature is a quiz. It goes without saying it's a quiz, because when in doubt, a quiz is what comes out. That's one of my mantras for
And is that the case for you when you sit here?
Yeah.
When you're trying to do write one of your essays.
When I struggle, I have submitted a lot of quizzes in my time to confused examiners who've asked me to leave university.
Have you got the score for this quiz?
I too have been reflecting on this crazy thing we call life,
Wow.
It's a laugh a minute, sure, goes without saying, but it's also a cry an hour. And it's in that balance, in the kind of ticking and talking of time, that I thought we should take a moment to reflect and to ask, what kind of lockdown Larry are you?
Lockdown.
Yeah, what kind of-
So hang on a minute. There's more than one sort of lockdown,
There's
Larry.
3 different types that they know about so far.
And
science.
are they like lockdown Lawrence, lockdown Larry, lockdown
No,
Loza?
they're all Larrys, but
Right.
they're different adjectives or different descriptors of the Larry. So
Like a sort of apathetic
like this,
lockdown.
but not this. Happy Larry.
Happy
That's
Larry.
where we get
Happy
as
as
happy
Larry.
as Larry from.
And is he a lockdown?
Yeah, he is.
Is he one of the ones I
No,
can be in the quiz?
he's
Okay.
no.
He is a
You
type.
definitely can't.
No. Well, I'm well aware that I wasn't. I should say here and now, I wasn't aspiring to be lockdown Happy Larry.
But yeah, guess what's going to happen is I'm going to assume the role of the quiz master, and I guess I'll be asking.
You wrote the question.
Well, I found this in Notion, the app Notion. So
You're always finding
if
things
you
in there
guys
without
have
writing them,
problems
and
with
I
it,
really think you should email
take
their
it up
help
with
desk
the
about
app.
that. Can we just say
Go on.
that we we opened up Isaac's Notion.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he had a page titled like episode concept. And there were a couple of things. There was like a link to an article.
Yeah.
There was like some pretty
There were
good
very few
topics
things,
that
I
were going
must
to be
say.
coming up. And then there was just one line that said things that are obviously scams.
Question mark.
And that was it. No more detail.
That was one of those cases of where you leave yourself a note thinking that it will prompt more of a memory than it in fact does. Because I'm sure it was based on something.
It was probably based on
maybe three or four
something
things.
you saw that was obviously a scam.
Yeah.
And
I'll
you
have
thought
to
there
think
must be
about
more of these.
There's no two ways about it. Lockdown fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Of all the nasty happenings brought about by the hashtag plandemic, getting imprisoned in your own filthy flat has got to be the worst.
Oh.
Apart from all the dying and sickness, that is.
Well, apart from that, yeah.
They are always saying, cometh the hour, cometh the man. And nowhere is that more true than in Lockdown 3.0, where the hour is all the time, and the man, why, that's none other than you.
RIP Captain Sir Tom Moore.
RIP. Much like a fight breaking out in a public bathroom over who was first in line for the chewable fuzzy brush, or an old man's handbag being snatched from his wrinkled, skinny as an old Christmas tree arm in the middle of Market Square.
Right.
You never know how you're going to react in a crisis until you're slap bang in the middle of the thing. With Bill Gates' nasty microchips mere months away from being implanted in your controllable flesh.
Well, and also,
Yeah.
I don't know if this was...
The quiz might not.
It probably got written before
Yeah.
the news broke about his new plan, which is to block out the sun. Have you heard about
Oh,
this?
come on. That's what Mr. Burns does.
He's gonna. Well, it's also what happens in the Matrix.
But
like
Mr. Burns doing that gets him shot by a
There's
baby.
so much like artistic precedent for
not
not
doing
trying
it,
to block
yeah.
out the sun, and yet.
Icarus was trying it. He just didn't have the means.
What about their article that seems largely to have been overlooked by the Bill and
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
that said like you have to take child labour like case by case.
Yeah, you got to look into it because there's some things they are just better at doing.
Yeah, with
Lego.
their little hands.
Yeah,
Very
they
good.
can fit into like behind the corner, pick out some sort
It's
of
amazing
screw
the
that's
things you
dropped.
can just say in the newspaper these days.
It is
I'm
amazing.
surprised you're not saying more in them.
I'll give it a go. See how this quiz lands. There's no time like the present to reflect on exactly how you've risen to the challenges of hashtag London lockdown living, as we ask and answer, what kind of lockdown, Larry, are you?
How are you?
It's 6 questions, 3 options for each.
Now, you said initially 50 minimum.
Yeah, there was a difference of opinion that I had
Between
with
you and
how
the
much
notion
time
you
there
found.
was. But yeah, there's 3 options for each. It's A, B, and C. We're going to need to keep track of.
I'll keep a little.
Perfect. Yeah,
note.
you keep track.
Yep.
Because, you know, these sorts of quizzes, they go through what's called the scientific method and process. That's method and process. In order to
remember.
find which kind of lockdown Larry you are.
Lockdown.
According to the best available evidence. Question 1, you ready?
I'm ready.
When you heard the news that it was the time and the place for the lockdown 3.0 to begin, did you, A, cower under the table? Lockdown is simply a earthquake to you. B, flex your good bicep to cheer up the NHS. This one's for you, Nursey. Or C, follow your nose to the coast to stock up on pink lobster to see you through the winter months.
Now, this is a
This is
throwback.
the callback, yeah.
A callback.
Why made us both think of lobster?
It's just that time of year.
I guess.
They're
It's
in
the
season.
lobster in season.
Now, lockdown, it is not an earthquake to me.
Okay, are you sure?
Of that, I am certain. I didn't.
It feels a bit like an earthquake.
We've
you'd
got
say.
we've got a table and a sturdy one at that in the other room, and I haven't
Is that what
once
you get under?
cowered under it.
Are
No.
you supposed to get under a table or by a door?
Under a table or under a door frame?
Okay.
But like a supporting door, not just any.
I'll
door
probably
frame.
get a table under a door frame to be double safe. from the
I
break.
think you're just going to be crushed
fuck.
twice.
Damn. Okay,
so
so not A.
it's not that. No, they are. I think different.
Well, in some ways, but to some people, like
They're
let's
both
not erase
disruptive.
that kind of lockdown.
No, I wouldn't want to
'Cause
deny
to
that
some of
lived
them,
experience.
It is an earthquake to them.
People to whom being in the house is the same as the house falling down.
Yeah.
I don't
or
want.
moving a bit side to side.
Yeah,
because
shuddering.
of the plates.
What was the second one? It was
That
about
was to
flexing
flex
my
your
good
good
bicep. Neither of my biceps is much of a tribute
It
to
wouldn't
anyone.
cheer up the NHS.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't do them much good at all. I don't think.
But maybe you could be making them be like, oh, it's like acceptance. Like, you're fine the way you are. Look at my arm. It's not the arm of like an Adonis. You could be saying.
Yeah, but I don't think that it's a
necessarily. Exactly
I don't think it's
needed.
necessarily a bodily self-esteem problem that the NHS has, more a kind of chronic underfunding
and that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what was the third option?
It was to follow your nose to the coast. I don't know, could be the Essex coast. To stock up on the pink lobster to see you through the winter months.
Well, I don't know if you've opened the freezer recently, but it is
Is it clicking
chock
away?
full of the pinkest
That's good
big
to
crab
know.
you've ever seen. So I've gone for C.
Perfect.
I'm going to go for C. I've written that down.
Question 2.
If I pick C for all of these, it's not going to be bad or anything. It's not going to be a bad.
Let me just
I'm
get
not going to
ahead
be.
of you
I'm
here.
not going to be lockdown lobster Larry.
Oh, fuck, I wish. Let me get ahead of that, though. Thank you for raising
Go on.
them. None of them are a bad type of Larry to be. There is no
I won't be
form of
judged
Larry.
by you
Absolutely
nor the
not.
audience
Absolutely
for what
not.
type of
Me and the audience, we
lockdown
can
Larry.
agree there is no judgment.
That's
It's a safe
good to
space
know.
for all Larrys are accepted here.
Larry's of all shapes and sizes.
Question 2. We all remember where we were when Boris Johnson commanded us to become in the lockdown 3 again. But do you remember what you were feeling? A. Proud of your ancestors. Those guys sure knew how to have a good time.
Wow.
B. Jealous of your unborn child. He'll never know what it means to struggle.
He will.
Or C. Pleased about the enjoyable lockdown, providing you the chance to practice developing your murky bisque garnished with private squirtings. Which is it gonna be?
Well,
A to the B to the C.
It won't be B.
Okay, fair enough. Just on the basis that you think he will know. How to
They
struggle.
will. They'll know all about all
You'll
sorts
make him.
of struggle.
You're forcing.
if they're having too easy a ride,
Yeah.
they've
Right up
got
the
to be.
chimney.
They've got to be shown.
So maybe it's C
it-
about the murky bisque.
No, you see,
Because you did stock up on lobster earlier.
I did, but the thing is, I'm not a cook. I eat it raw. I don't
Shells
bisque.
and all.
Oh yeah,
Fuck
that's
me.
the best where all the flavour
That's
is.
where the calcium lives in the
Yeah.
shell.
I don't do bisques.
Okay, what about private squirtings?
Well,
Is that a forte?
not in the kitchen.
Oh, fair enough.
Not in the bisque.
So I
not
guess
on the
you're
pink
just
lobster.
proud of those
I
ancestors.
was proud of my ancestors. They what was it that
They sure
just
knew how to
remind
have a
me?
good time.
I mean, they were probably in a kind of famine, but
Well, they made the most
They
of
made
it,
it through.
didn't
You
they? They were
know,
carrying
they're
under
good.
the table.
We a bit of gallows humour.
The
Never did
famine was an
anyone any.
earthquake to them.
They were diving under the table to avoid that potato blight.
Oh, yes.
Love it. Yeah, go for it.
Question 3. After President Boris Johnson commanded us to develop a lockdown 3.0, there was a run on the banks and many bankers and financiers were unfortunately killed in the frenzy. Were you, A, responsible for the deaths of 3 handsome bank staff at your local branch? Guess it's their fault for standing between you and your great British pounds. B,
No jury would convict.
dismayed to learn about the way bitcoins were being portrayed in the lamestream press. I love the phrase lamestream press, by the way. It really tickled me. Just have to break character for a moment. Or C, gleeful about the chance to run on down to Pink Lobster Town and stock up from the ocean's salty larder whilst the rest of us are distracted by the good gold glint of rock hard coin. Which shall it be? A, B, or C? You better answer me.
I'm fine with the lamestream press.
Okay.
Portraying Bitcoin as garbage.
Oh no, you're not.
Because
We've got many crypto investors in our audience, and I think
they're polluting the whole world. That's what they're doing.
and they're meaning I can't buy a graphics card.
Yeah, they are doing that as well.
Fuckers, I want one.
So I don't mind. The lamestream press can do whatever they
Fair.
fucking want to Bitcoin.
Okay.
Now the thing is, when there was the run on the banks,
Yeah.
I was thinking more about my cash dollar than I was the pink lobster.
That's fair because you'd already stocked up from the ocean's secret larder.
And I'm sort of confessing live on air to having murdered 3 bankers.
But what?
And it was indeed their fault for standing between me and my
But
few
it might
British
have just
pounds.
been an administrative thing where they were like, "Wait, what's your name?" before we give you them.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. It was a quite.
You can tell by
serious-
the look in each of their eyes.
Okay.
It wasn't like 3 at once either. Like I did one, and then while they were sort of lying there,
blubbering. out.
they were going a bit sort of like stiff.
I hate that when that happens.
I was chatted to the second one, and they just weren't up to the task either. And you'll never guess what third.
No,
couldn't do it. Fourth
what are
person,
the odds?
very helpful.
You just can't.
They
get
got
the
me
staff.
they got me my dollar.
Apart from that fourth one. Okay, so that was a A. That
was an A
a
again, yeah.
Okay, we're nearing the end of the quiz. We're on question 4, which is to say that
6.
we're halfway. Question 4. It was in the second week of Lockdown 3 that Sir Captain Tom was run over by a stray horse named Good Morning Ayn Rand.
Oh
And
no!
unfortunately squashed off the earth and straight up to heaven.
Rip.
You were nowhere near and powerless to help. But if you had been on the scene,
Okay.
would you, A, shout at the dear old Sir Captain to, quote, "Get the fuck out of the way, Captain Sir Tom. The pale horse is riding with the Reaper on his back." That would have got him wriggling to safety before you can say Barbados. It's a little bit of
That's a reference.
B, easily kill Good Morning Ayn Rand with your strong hand and good bicep before turning to Knight of the Realm, it's Captain Tom, sir, and begging him to do a few more laps to pay for your expensive cosmetic needs. Or C, remember that sometimes the only way to win the game is not to play at all, and leave the ancient alive war hero to enjoy one final rumble for old time's sake. He'll die doing what he loves. Which will it be, I guess, is the question.
Now, you see, the thing is,
Yeah. It's a question that cuts to the core of what it means to be a man, I guess, is what you were thinking.
it is C. I'd stand back and let the poor old bastard be
Get
trampled.
run over by Good Morning Ayn Rand.
It's better to be trampled by a horse than it is to die of COVID. That's what I've heard, and that's what I'll be sticking
Is
to.
that the British Medical Journal's opinion?
It's not the British Medical Journal's opinion. It's just the British way of doing things.
Oh, okay.
And to be fair, like, I heard that he drowned a war horse
Wow. Okay.
himself.
I didn't know that.
I just heard that somewhere, and so
it's retribution in many ways.
it's not so much retribution as it is just karmic balance.
Yeah. You send ours to the hospital, we'll send yours to the morgue.
To the to the
fair
literal.
enough. So that was C.
So that was C.
one.
Yeah.
Question 5. We're nearing the end now. This is the home stretch.
And I just confirming again, there's no good nor bad.
No, it's very much. It's not about good and bad, right?
Because I've reached the point now where I've got 2 C's and 2 A's.
So it
So
could
if
go
I
either
have
way.
either of those,
Or you could go for 2 B's and you
if
could
I
be
have
every Larry.
yeah, if
You
I
could
have
be the
either of
Ambi
those
Larry,
again,
the Omni
the Omni
Larry.
Larry, then I'm kind of locked into being that, and I don't.
Like I say, there's no wrong answers in the game of life. I always
If there
say
is
that.
a nonce Larry, and you say that's
There is
it,
a nonce Larry, but he's not on this list.
Oh,
'cause-
okay, good.
Because none of these questions
be upset.
point you in that way. It wasn't like you would
they're not.
ignore Captain
Yeah, but they're
Tom.
not really. They're not
go to
really
a
pointing
primary
me in
school.
any way.
Oh, they are, but I guess because I know what the answer is. I can see
What do you mean
that
the
going.
answer?
I can see the answers, I said.
Sorry, right. It
Your
sounded like you
mistake.
said singular.
Your mistake. That's
I'll
what I
listen
got on your
back.
face. Question 5. The great thing about our nation's Lockdown 3.0 is that absolutely everyone has had the time to develop new hobbies, new interests, and finally find they're funny.
What have you done?
On reflection, your favourite addition
Quizmaster?
to your already large and diverse array of pastimes would have to be...
Go on.
A. Learning the Latin names for every different type of pasta to impress the first waiter you meet out there in the new normal.
They love that.
B. Torching the paper trail. Oh no, sorry, this is C. B. Carrying out... Oh no, you're right, here's B.
I'm worried about this now.
Torching the paper trail which connects you, Declan Delane, with a large and highly publicised seafood sex scandal known in the gutter press as Clamgate. Or C. Carrying out a profoundly illegal erotic enterprise which combines your not unproblematic love of crustacea with your irrepressible lust for the wounded human nude. So those are the different options of your pastimes that you took up in the Lockdown 3. There was the pasta one, and then weirdly enough, there seemed to be two.
There were two.
Which-
The third was about me embarking on some sort of weird seafood sex crime, and the second was me confessing that such a thing existed and trying to scorch that from the record. So it really feels like if I choose either one of those, then I'm kind of locked into confessing.
I guess you've got to be honest, though.
The middle one also, troublingly, seemed to have my full name attached to it.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was reading it.
When you were typing that out.
When I saw the quiz, I thought, that's funny. They must have known it from our cookies, maybe.
Well, the thing is I've spent quite a bit of time on the old Duolingo.
Yeah.
Focusing on the
seafood.
God's greatest gift, which is pasta.
Okay.
It was A.
It was A, this one?
Yeah. it was
Okay.
A.
So you're not going to bother torching the paper trail, I guess, is what you're saying.
Well, there's no paper trail
about
to torch.
Clamgate. Okay. And the wounded
didn't.
nudes?
I don't know what that means.
Be that as it may.
I don't know what
Let
that
bygones
means.
be bygones.
I wouldn't even pretend to know what that means, and I would presume anyone who did
Weird.
is some sort of
I
sexual
saw it in the
deviant
quiz,
themselves.
I guess right next
What
to your
does
name.
it mean?
I was wondering the same thing, to be honest.
Right, it's the way that you
Maybe
read
if we read the next question, we'll find out.
it. Okay, go on then.
Question 6.
I don't really want to, but
It may not seem like it right now, but just like they say in the funny pages, this too shall pass.
right.
And when lockdown 3.0 is finally over and we breathe as a nation a collective sigh of relief. I actually just improvised that part right now.
Well, that's nice of you.
You better believe you're going to miss it, right?
Oh yeah.
But what will you miss most? A. Hanging out with your buddies and pals over Microsoft Zoom. All that social distancing, it might just have brought you closer than ever before.
Wow.
That's just a little thought
Social
the quiz
distancing
had.
was the friends you made along the way.
Yeah. B. The way the sun rises and sets impassively is a reminder of the universe's deep and immutable ambivalence to human suffering here on Earth, which you watch trapped in this time, in this place, and in this body, powerless to help, as millions of people die painful, largely preventable deaths, only there's no political will to help them or change anything, or even to acknowledge that all of us are skipping down that same yellow brick road to Cold Corpse City, and that we'll all experience the personal and subjective extinguishing of our own lives, memories and dreams entirely alone, and with no understanding of what it was all for.
That one was a shade less
Or
optimistic
C.
than A.
All those pink lobsters you fucked to death in front of an audience of the unwilling injured. So I guess there's 3 viable choices, and that's what makes the quiz so interesting.
Did I miss Zoom? did I miss the crushing inevitability of death and the way in which it's being deliberately doled out by our government and supported by our nation's people, or some sort of sordid
Well, it didn't say
sexual
sordid.
deviance.
Yeah, it didn't say sordid.
It didn't say sordid, but it was about people being unwillingly exposed to me fucking
No, it
wildlife.
didn't say they were unwillingly exposed. It said they were the unwilling injured. But they were an audience, and that sort of implies that they paid tickets.
So is this as opposed to people who are willingly injured?
I guess so, yeah.
So they were unwillingly injured, but they also all happened to be avid spectators.
Sometimes you've got to
me,
weigh up your options.
To me, and let's just clarify, fucking some sea life
lobsters.
to death.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess it's
Sophie's
Sophie's choice.
I've always been a big fan of Zoom. So I think
You're going with A here.
I am going to pluck for A.
Okay.
I do hate to do so quickly, but I think as an educational professional, the less we linger on this kind of
God, this
element
podcast's public, isn't it?
it is public.
That's
yeah.
bad.
I would like you just to put out there that you made this up, if you could.
I made it up based on things that I see and hear.
Right,
in the
like
flat.
what?
Well, just different sights
I
and
will
sounds.
take you to court if I have to.
I haven't implied anything. I'm just reading the quiz as it was written.
That you wrote.
As it was written. It's a passive sort of action.
No, it was not.
So what have we ended up with there? A for that one, right?
We've got C-A, A-C, A-A.
mostly A's. it
Mostly
sounds like.
A's, yeah.
So there were 3 options. I'll read you.
So I
the-
got no B's. So let's start
with
B.
Mostly B's, and I think probably you're right that this isn't you, because it's questioning Larry. Questioning
Right.
Larry. You're a regular Miss Marples when it comes to curiosity, always poking and probing at the edges of what's strictly acceptable in polite society, much to the amusement and occasional admonishment of your nearest and dearest. They may not understand you, but boy howdy, they'll just have to grin and bear it when this Larry's are snooping around. So that's,
Yeah, no, I
you're
don't.
not a Snoopy sort of guy.
I'm not. No, that's not my vibe. There were a couple of C's in there. What?
Couple of C's, yeah. That was mostly C's. That was Lobster fucking Larry.
Oh, lobster fucking Larry.
Yeah, one of the archetypes. For you, Lockdown 3.0 was pretty much business as usual. And that business is largely predicated on the idea and ideal of dipping your pink and white crab sticks into any shell hole that'll have you. You won't let a little thing like COVID come between you and your crustacean muse, and for that, the nation applauds you. This one's for you, Captain Tom.
Now, it's unfortunate, really, because
Because you feel like you could have been C.
No, what? Quite
Should've.
the opposite.
Oh,
See, the answers I picked for C
yeah.
were mostly about just eating lobster.
No, there was no eating.
Well,
it was stocking up.
gathering. Yeah,
gathering
stocking up.
to fuck.
Yeah, well, no. But it was that didn't appear in any of the answers that I... No, it was not.
Subtext.
It was not.
It was in the grain of the voice, as Bart would have it.
You just decided that in the other answers.
No, I suppose not. You were mostly A's.
Go on.
You're really going to be pleased with this one because it's the best one to be, apart from maybe B and C. Versatile Larry.
Oh, right.
Versatile Larry. They say life is what you make of it. And you sure made Lockdown 3.0 a confusing time. You've been bouncing back and forth from hobby to hobby like so many pinballs in a squash court. And you better believe, when all is said and done, you've enjoyed every second of it.
Wow.
And that's the kind of Larry you are. You're making the most of every millisecond that passes. You're grabbing life by the teat and saying, suck ahoy.
As anyone who knows me will know,
yeah.
I've had nothing but good vibes for the whole of Lockdown 3.0.
I can vouch for that. So do you feel, I guess there must be a certain weight lifted from your shoulders knowing, because it's like, I guess it reminds me of
Let me interrupt you there.
Prior to the diagnosing of mental illness.
Sorry, I said let me interrupt you there, just to say I do feel a weight lifted to know that I am scientifically not lobster fucking Larry.
What was interesting is that Versatile Larry sort of entails the others, and especially because you said
it doesn't.
You had so many C's in there.
No, I didn't.
You had, C was your second most one, right? You weren't just the normal B Larry. He was like the standard Larry, questioning Larry.
Well, that's not standard, is it?
Yeah, to be questioning is to be alive. They say,
it was also there was also a lot
trait.
in there about questioning, what society will and won't accept, which is suggests a kind of perversion.
No, not necessarily that.
No, see, now it's interesting how
it,
to you the phrase he wants to question what society will and won't accept does not imply perversion, but the phrase I'm stocking up on lobster must and can only mean to fuck it to death in front of the unwillingly wounded.
I guess we bring our different experiences to the text, and you've clearly got a lot of more lobster experience than I have, because of course I'm a vegan, so I don't touch the things. They repulse me.
Well, like you said, you said there was no eating of them.
No, I didn't mean they repulse me gastronomically even. Just, it wouldn't be vegan to fuck a lobster to death. That's well established in vegan law. Mm-hmm. LORA.
I'll say that most people who eat seafood don't fuck lobsters to death either. Well, it's an aphrodisiac though, so they probably rub it on their parts to some extent. No.
Well, I guess different strokes for different
You've been
folks.
reading too much vegan propaganda. Look, you've been taken in
here on That's a Shame
by Big Leaf.
We hold up a magnifying glass to society, and specifically in this case to Declan, and we say, how many seafoods
why not just throw in my full name again? Just don't just stick to the cowardly
Declan Eduardo. Yeah, I guess what the point I was getting at there is that our role as artists during this pandemic, as we alluded to with Rupee, has been to categorize and to narrate and narrativize and develop the history of the present. And there's no way that anyone has done that better than today when we found out that you're a versatile / lobster fucking Larry.
No.
Well, versatile is number one, lobster fucking as the number 2 point. And I guess for you, that's going to be great. And that's going to be nice to know where you fit into the world moving forwards and in reflection. And isn't that what That's a Shame's always been about?
No.
I've been Isaac. I've been
Declan.
See you next time, lobster fucking Larry.
Bye.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities. necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Necessities, the bare necessities, the bare necessities of life will come to you.